Welcome back to the Sports Source, this segment of our program brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. If you're looking for a getaway spot in the Great Smoky Mountains where you can either enjoy the sights up there or safely seclude yourself from the world that's going crazy around us, visit ParksideCabinRentals.com to see all of their cabin layouts and their options. Ogle family has been in the hospitality business since the National Park was open up there. Give them a call, give them a check on their website. All right. Here's what I was talking about. If I'm Greg Sankey, here's what I do. We're starting September 19th. We're pushing everything back a week or 2 weeks. We're going to put our division games up front because that way we'll at least have division champions. We'll try and get through a 6-game division schedule. Play all those up front. Then, October 31st, if everything's fine and we're still playing, then you play your automatic every year cross-division rival. That'd be Tennessee, Alabama. We're still playing? Everything's still good? Okay. You get a second one. We'll bring in whoever was 2021's cross-division rival. 2022. Now you're up to 9 games. There you build in your non-conference game. You want to try and get one in there? That's toward the end of the season. It should work with most of those teams because everybody's going to be willy-nilly at that point. Leave an open date in case you got to fill something back in. Then maybe if you're lucky you get an SEC championship game on the same date as normal. But the bottom line is that first group, those 6 games, I don't know that the SEC is going to have all 14 of their teams play those 6 games. Those would be the most important 6 games on my schedule. And the other 3 games that I would get in those cross division, if you play that 9 games, which they desperately do not want to do, they will not add another conference game. They're just scared to death of it, cowards of it. If you did it, you're keeping all the money. It's all in the SEC. All right, what am I missing? And it doesn't have to be that exact plan, but why not go ahead and say we're conference only like most of these other schools, and we'll try and stick something at the end for the non-conference. But we got to keep our own money in-house, so we're doing this. Why not? What am I missing?
I like this plan. I think the one thing that I'm a little bit in the dark on is why delaying has been something that people are really excited about, because I don't think, do you believe the odds are that the situation is going to get better? Because I don't necessarily believe that. I think the people that are talking about moving games up to week 0, I like that plan a lot better. Playing the last week of August, and then you have that. So you start that week 0, and then you build in a ton of early buys. Right. And then if something happens, you can move it, and there's a ton more flexibility. And then you got like 2 or 3 days. You can play the SEC championship game on the back end. If I like your plan to go and keep all that money in conference. And keep the flexibility.
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think there's anybody in the country that's looking at moving things up.
I think you're right.
If I were you, if it were my command, I think I would move it up because then you have more dates to fall back on. But would TV have a problem with this? Are they scared that if we just play conference only, we somehow won't get in the playoff? There's got to be some reason that all the other leagues are pretty much looking at playing 9 or more conference games, and the SEC desperately wets its pants anytime somebody says, hey, could you play a 9th? No, God, no.
You tease my 2 points. I also like your plan, but here's the thing. One is the TV networks want promotion, and they want to have a set schedule and not have to adjust. And to make those, to have this radical a plan and a different plan, and then I think that's where it is that the SEC wants to try to keep their schedules as close to normal as possible. And the other thing is Gary Stokan mentioned in a radio interview the other day, the reason why these power conferences want to keep their Power 5 non-conference opponents intact is the differentiation in playoffs from one conference to another, because you can make it a big impact. I showed the example of Alabama, Florida State when they played that marquee game a number of years ago. And that was a difference where Alabama didn't win their division or play in the conference championship game. They had that to fall back on. Now, is that worth the health and safety and the big picture decision making? Maybe not, but apparently it's something that they're thinking about.
The other conferences are, like the Big Ten, they're changing their conference schedule.
Right.
The ACC looks like they're going to start from scratch with their schedules, the last I heard. So I'm talking about locking in a schedule.
Right.
It's just not, because if they think Tennessee's schedule is going to wind up looking like it does on paper right now,
Yeah.
oh, good luck. Good luck,
Right.
CBS, because I don't think that's the way it's going to look. We'll see.
The one thing I would wonder is, do you need at least one more open
Open date,
date somewhere early?
Right.
Just to take care of that. And the SEC, from what I've heard, they don't want to be beating each other up. You add a game, to me, it's almost like adding another chance to lose. And then when you compare that to other conferences, I mean, that's
That are
about
already-
the
but
only
they're
thing.
doing it.
Well, I know, but if you're looking at like something like this, say a Big Ten school, how would they do if they had to go to LSU and play a night game? Or how would they do? There's certain environments in the SEC that are much tougher to play in and tougher road games to win. By adding a game, you just add the likelihood of somebody having another loss that could come back and bite them at the end of the season.
Well, congratulations, because I don't think you're going to have a playoff this year. So if they're doing everything, we've got to protect ourselves to play. Good luck. I don't think you'll have a playoff. Hope I'm wrong. We'll see. Maybe they'll turn around and look great, and all these schedules all these teams play their full 12 games, and it's right on time. I would bet the house that is not what it's going to be.
Well, you can get that at the Chucky C Note Casino.
And
To me, what can you keep any kind of conference championship at all? Then play your division games. You can at least
Yeah.
have 2 division champions, and at worst comes to worst, your 7th game this year is your SEC.
And you still
then you could throw in other stuff.
Yeah.
But at least get your bare minimum, and they have no intention of doing that.
And that's why having that flexibility after those division games, I think that's where television comes into play. Because then they're like, all right, are we going to have this game or not? And then you're not going to find out until the last minute.
They're going to have that anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but then they can actually have it because something happened and that's the reason for it versus, hey, let's plan on flexibility and then we don't know. I just think TV and those conferences that are changing their schedules or going conference only, they're not totally blowing up their schedule. They're just adding to it and just adjusting to it a little bit, but they're not just starting all
The word
over
out of the ACC was they were going to start from scratch.
Okay.
If you're adding Notre Dame back in, I mean, you're going to keep some of the same opponents, but
Right.
the dates are going to move. From what I read, that was
Yeah.
one of the things they're talking about.
Okay.
So, and I thought the Big Ten was going to start from scratch too.
Okay.
That was their initial word.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can try and keep it a little bit more east-west, and then the cross-divisional foes will be closer.
Right.
So you won't have Rutgers, if they're playing, shipped to Nebraska. But who knows?
Who knows?
I just think it's. If I run a business, I'll try to not make a decision up to a point where I have to make a decision. You're to the point of needing to make a decision for your fans, for TV, and just for your own revenue.
And to start practice.
Money is the. We
Yeah.
all agree money is the number one thing here, right?
Right.
They wouldn't even be playing if there weren't millions on the table. Then why the hell don't you just say, well, let's keep all the money, let's play it in-house? If it's because, well, we could lose in the playoffs, that's just short-sighted in my view.
And you might find people like it and want to do it next year too, or the next season, whenever that is.
All right, I have a feeling this won't be the last of these debates. It's going to be a fun season watching. It's going to be a fun season if we have.
If we have.
When we come back, Phil Steele. What's hard to Phil or Phil Steele? One of those guys does a great preseason magazine every year. He's put out his SEC predictions. What do you say about Tennessee, and do we agree with it? Come on back.